Hey everybody, welcome to Two Over Comics. My name is Steve.
I'm Mike.
I'm Patrick.
And it's Thursday and it's time to review some comic books. We got Mike doing the bulk. He's really like piling it on today. He's doing 3 books today. And Patrick will be talking about, guess what? The Batman books. We're gonna start with the two more less mainstream, but the two I think a secondary title, I guess, the B list as far as the comic books go, as far as the big two go. We'll get those out of the way, and then we'll talk about the big milestone issues right now, who are the hot books this week, I guess you'd say. So without further ado, we're gonna jump right into it. Mike, take us away.
I wasn't ready. Sorry. So real quick, I just want to talk about the Miles Morales book, Miles Morales 19, as you fine folks can see right here. So in the latest story arc, Ultimatum, I believe he's called, came back from the Ultimate Universe, which he's actually from this universe because he's the Miles Morales of the 616. And even though he looks nothing like our favorite Miles Morales.
Pump the brakes. What are you talking about? There's 2 Miles Moraleses?
So if you go way back to Spider-Man, which was Patrick's favorite, Spider-Man 2 was Patrick's favorite of the two.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man?
No, it was just Spider-Man. It was the story arc that Bendis did. He did 2 of them, and like before he left to go to DC, he finished up Spider-Man run where we
I do remember that one.
The Miles Morales of the 616 shares. From what we first saw, it's Bendis doesn't want the Miles Morales that he created to be a bad guy. What I got from that, because the Miles Morales that's the same Miles Morales as the Ultimate Universe one literally looks nothing like him. It looks like a completely different character with the Miles Morales name. But
I do remember that. Yep.
Same Miles Morales. So. I mean, you guys can go back and read Spider-Man, because I can go. That's a whole rabbit hole.
I'm not here for a tutorial. I'm here to cover issue 19.
Yeah. So basically, that Miles Morales went to the Ultimate Universe to go find a loved one that he had on this earth that died or loved him, whatever. Who cares? So he came back, and he was, he brought back the Ultimate Green Goblin with him. He has like all the powers of the Ultimates. Heck. Go figure. His name's the Ultimatum, I guess what you want to call him. So I do say I'm a lot. That's what my wife said. I'm like, you say I'm a lot.
I do too.
So we do it again. Now I can't stop doing it. He comes back and he meantime, while this is happening, Miles Morales gets kidnapped by this group called the Assessor that's like studying him. And this whole time they actually cloned him, so now he's going through his own clone saga. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, there's only one great clone saga, and that's Ben Reilly. Anyways.
What an accessible comic book this sounds like. It's like you just
dive right in. It was a 3-issue arc so far. So
yeah, it makes me wanna go get all those issues right now.
Well, if you had to read an Ultimate Spider-Man book with Ben Reilly, he's in my mind always. Miles Morales, this is a book. It's like 100 times better than when Bendis was doing it. That's still not saying much because they still can't figure out if he remembers he's from the Ultimate Universe or he's from the 616. That's Marvel going back and forth on that. But this issue kind of closes it all in. He, like I said, the 616 Miles Morales comes back and is like, all right, Miles, he has him captured. He's like, you need to go back to the Ultimate Universe. You're living my life, blah, blah, blah. And there's this big machine that it seems like can be transported, him and his life, his family, his friends. That book can go back to the Ultimate Universe, it seems like. So from what Cates is doing in Venom, it seems like they want to bring back the Ultimate Universe. And that's the main reason why I want to review this book. Because that's it. I'm a big fan of the Ultimate Universe. I hope they bring it back.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it got too big towards the end, and I really only read Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's the thing. That's the thing about the Ultimate Universe, is that when the Ultimate Avengers, all that crap, that was beyond terrible. And they had these like David Finch, Ron Gardy doing artwork for a sinking ship.
Well, that's because they took all that talent off it, and basically that Ultimatum wave, or that miniseries that happened like 10, 20 years ago, however long it was. They basically killed off like 3/4 of the universe, and it was popular characters, and a lot of people, that was their jumping off point for that. So, but now after the last Secret Wars that happened, or whatever that one was called, the Ultimate Universe was reborn. Everyone that died is back again. But as we saw in the Venom book, where the Ultimate Reed Richards is in that universe, it's on fire. So we don't know what's really going on. But this is like the second book where they've kind of hinted at, guys, the Ultimate Universe is still around. Cates was interested in, I think it was him who said he was interested in bringing that back. So.
Well, he interned and grew like he was kind of like during the Quesada era where he interned at Marvel and stuff like that. And I'm sure it was a really nostalgic time for him. So he wants to bring back like Marvel Knights and Ultimate Universe and stuff, which I'm fine with the Ultimate Universe existing, but I don't see. I mean, it's cool for like the 2099 existing, Marvel Zombies universe existing, Age of Apocalypse universe, just like. And if you want to do like a book like what was it, the Exiles book that came out years ago, where you kind of like dimension, that'd be kind of cool. But I don't see the need to revamp the Ultimate line at all. I mean, I don't know. That's just me anyway. I enjoyed it, but I loved Ultimate Spider-Man when it came out. I loved Ultimate X-Men, all those books. But eventually it did run its course around Ultimatum when Jeff Loeb came on and stuff. So, but
I mean that's something that definitely needs to be a digital only book if they're gonna bring it back. I mean, unless they end it with Miles actually being in the Miles Ultimate Universe, that can be the only physical book, because Miles Morales is a popular character. He's in Spider-Verse, the PS4 game. He's getting his own game, soon. So he's a popular character. So that book would still be a digital and physical.
If you want to do one like anthology book, like have like 3 or 4 stories in there, 3 or 4 different characters, kind of do that sort of thing, I'd be fine with that. I mean, kind of
like a $20.99 unlimited type deal.
Yeah, remember in 2099 when it kind of wrapped things up, they did I think it was called, like when Peter David was finishing it up, and it was called like 2099 Unlimited.
I think it was Unlimited too, or something like that.
It might have been, I'm not sure. It had some kind of different name. I forget what it was, but it kind of just turned into like a bunch of short stories with the characters and stuff.
So most part, it was just Hulk and Spider-Man, pretty much.
So they're basically in this issue, they're kind of like they're revisiting the Ultimate Universe, and
it seems like that the 616 Miles, who looks nothing like a 616 Ultimate Miles.
So the 616 Miles Morales
his life back there.
So 616 Miles Morales is in the Ultimate Universe right now?
No, not yet. They're still in the 616, but there's like this portal that can send Miles back to the Ultimate Universe, saying you don't belong here. You're living my life. Blah blah blah. You don't belong here, type of thing.
So he wants to pull the old switcheroo, pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
I will say that the Miles Morales book has been a lot better. He's been mainly focusing his superhero, adventures in Brooklyn. So, which I kind of like, because the fact that we have 2 Spider-Men swinging throughout New York City. At one point, there was 3 when Spider-Man 29 was in the present. But I gotta say, it's a lot better than when it's light years ahead better when Bendis was doing it, because he just, I don't know. That's another story for another day.
Sometimes you just step back from your work and let it breathe before it's kind of evolve and take a better. You can see it from a better perspective, and it gets better. It's like that. I think Bendis. I mean, he was on the book for a long time. He created the book. He was on the Ultimate Spider-Man before that, and then when it carried over to 616, he was on there. I think it was just time for some new blood when it came to that.
He did great when it was just Miles in the book, but then when it was Spider-Man, it just felt like it was Peter Parker when he was writing it. He was actually repeating the same jokes Peter Parker did in the Ultimate book, earlier on when he first started doing it.
Bendis repeating himself? Yeah. Wow, never.
So, the new writer is doing a lot of it.
Writing wise, as far as storyline goes, and he also does it like in his actual dialogue, where they just say the same thing over and over again. I mean, I get what you're saying about Miles Morales. I think the only good rendition of Miles Morales is the one from the Spider-Verse anime movie by Sony. Because honestly, I mean, like I don't know if you guys watched the Spider-Man cartoons on Disney XD. I caught a few episodes.
I started watching it, and I agree to what you said.
And he's just basically Black Peter Parker, and that they all the same voice. They all interested in the same things, make the same jokes, the same.
And that's what I don't like. I wish they made Miles. I don't care if they make Miles smart. I think that's great that they're doing that, but make him be smart in something else other than the same thing.
He's not science smart. He's like he's smart in other areas and stuff like that, and like he's capable in other areas. He's not like that's a mistake. I think that does injustice to the character. Don't make him Black Peter Parker.
They could have made him engineering.
Essentially, it's what he is.
Yeah, I mean, make him his own character. That's why he was cool in his original incarnation. Yeah. He's like, I'm not Peter Parker. I'm this character, and that was cool. But now they're kind of like, like we don't have to do with them. Just make him the Black Peter Parker. It's just kind of stupid. But I don't know. I mean, give it time. A lot of characters they don't really pop. And so, you give a couple of creators some cracks in them, and then, there they go. Yeah, you got anything else to add about that book? Or?
Nope, that's it. It's light years ahead, better than when Bendis was doing it. Still not that great because they're still dancing around. Like I said, the whole, are you from this universe? Are you not? Which just make him realize in that book, it's only in that book that he realizes that he's not from the Ultimate Universe, from the 616.
You've heard my take when it comes to Miles. I mean, and a lot of people say there shouldn't be two Spider. There shouldn't be two Spider-Man. There should be one Spider-Man. And Marvel, if you want to go all in on Miles Morales, time to go into the deep end of the pool and retire Peter Parker. There can't be two Spider-Men.
They'll never retire Peter Parker because he's money.
This was the perfect opportunity, and I believe that they could have still kept Miles in the same costume, but they could have made him like the Scarlet Spider.
Also, I don't know if Patrick's heard my take at all. My take, and this is if I had my perfect timeline for Spider-Man would have been during the Clone Saga, where it was revealed that Ben Reilly was the real Peter Parker, and he was gonna and Mary Jane was pregnant. And he was gonna retire to Portland with Mary Jane. Right then, there, let Peter Parker be a father. Let him retire to wherever he wants to go. Ben Reilly should have saved Spider-Man until and had all those adventures for 20 years until the clone conspiracy. And instead of Ben Reilly being the Jackal and clone conspiracy, it should have been Kane. Kane should have killed Ben Reilly or whatever. And then Miles Morales should have became the one Spider-Man, and Peter Parker should have been a mentor to Miles Morales. Yeah. And on the sly while he's still being up. I mean, that's what I would do anyway. That's my.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because once a year I do reread the Clone Saga.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man sagas of all time. That's out in the open.
Well, you know what? We can talk about a worse Spider-Man storyline later on in this episode.
Yeah.
So I guess that covers all the bases with Miles Morales number 19. Mike, you had another book you wanted to cover.
So the book I've been looking forward to the most. It was so hard to get because our comic book store that we go to didn't have enough copies and whatnot. So I finally got mine on eBay. It's not coming to next week. And the website that I read it on, it wasn't available until today. So I didn't think I was going to be able to read it. I was going to be pretty upset. So it's called Transformers Back to the Future.
Wait, what?
Really?
It's a team-up book, basically. Kind of like how the Transformers and Turtles, Transformers and G.I. Joe, along that lines.
Well, I'm a little surprised right now. You said you were doing a Transformers book, a team-up book, and the same week Transformers My Little Pony came out. So why are you choosing?
Well, that's a separate podcast that I don't do.
Okay.
Hey, Brody.
It's called the Brody.
Yeah, we do have a side Bronies hustle going on the side.
We dress up like My Little Ponies. We have our outfits. And
I'm constantly
on the dark web. So
I'm constantly adding Tara Reid, not Tara Reid, Tara Strong, and she's not taking the bait. I don't know. Whatever. So I guess Transformers Back to the Future, I guess we'll talk about.
But you keep asking her to be in a bikini, so that's probably why she's not going to come on.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That way, that's what I do. But anyway, so back to the book. All right. So this takes place during the first movie and right at the beginning of it's kind of they're pulling like a Star Wars thing where all the Star Wars stories revolve around the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. So in this one, the Decepticons send. So these are get my notes. Rumble and Ravage
Oh, the Stan
not-
Lee 2099 character.
Yeah, I don't remember these characters, these two Decepticons, because I didn't really wasn't too deep into the Transformers, or if I was, I don't remember most of it because it was the 80s, so I was a kid. So,
I know the gun one and the truck one and the
Yeah.
tape recorder one.
oh, don't worry, they're all in this. But so for some reason, Megatron sends them to Hill Valley to find a weapon that will go against and take down Megatron. I'm sorry, Optimus Prime and the Autobots. Why would we send them to Hill Valley? Who knows? There must be Energon there. And we'll get into that later in the book. That actually, an alternate future. It's Back to the Future, so it's an alternate timeline.
Mhm.
So they witness. So Ravage and Rumble witness at Twin Pine Mall, because it's still Twin Pine Mall in the beginning of the movie. Just remember that, folks. They witness the terrorists chasing Marty. So you write it down.
I am.
Going back, going to the past, and they report back to brain fart. Megatron. It was a long day.
Optimus Prime?
No, Megatron.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, they disappeared. Like, do you think the humans, developed a teleportation device? And Soundwave has him like do a temporal span, Ravage do a temporal span of the area, and they find out that it's a temporal. Where is it? Temporal. Basically, they scan the area and figure out that it's time travel. My notes are a mess down there. I did it real quick before the podcast. I should be more prepared for this.
I don't even know how to write with a pencil or a pen anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was going to try and get prepared tomorrow, but I was really tired. I went to bed early.
Mhm.
And now, like Patrick. So, Patrick, yeah, fuck you, Mike. And they trace it. So they also witness at the same time Marty coming back, because, time travel can be just like that. You can reappear and come back. And when Marty comes back, he comes back to the town hall, clock tower, and then he runs back to the mall to try and prevent Doc from being murdered. So that's where that scene ends, where they see him coming back. So they then trace the temporal displacement particles back to Marty's house, where at the same time, Bumblebee is tracking the Decepticons. So there's basically this little scuffle. Marty and Doc think it's a terrorist. They track him down back to Marty's house. They basically go and look, and by the time they get there, Bumblebee's back in his, robot form, and who else? I think Ravage goes into a tape. He transforms into a tape, and they're trying to get the time machine from Doc and Marty, and Bumblebee inadvertently stops it. And Marty goes back into his house. Bumblebee sees the time machine go back to the future. And Marty wakes up to a new future where his dad's waking him up. If you guys remember the scene where Marty's kind of all discombobulated on the bed?
Yeah.
And Marty wakes up to his dad waking him up, getting him like, yeah, you overslept. You gotta get ready to, pulls him outside. They're on this transport that brings him down to the middle of Hill Valley, Clock Tower, where he sees all these robots collecting, Energon, and guess who's in charge of all of them? Biff.
Biff? Yeah.
Yep. So Biff sold his soul to the Decepticons and now is working for them. Marty's like, this isn't right. This is an alternate future, because he's aware of time travel, obviously. And yeah. So Soundwave is there, and he sees him. Like Marty throws out like a freaking trash can lid at him, and Marty runs away. He chases after him. Conveniently, there's a skateboard there. I don't know if it's a Transformer skateboard, but conveniently there is one. Even Marty's like, who put this skateboard here? But hey, oh well, I'll use it to get away. And then the time machine comes in, and Marty's like, Doc, is that you? And then we get the Transformer time machine. Basically, that's how it ends. So
That doesn't sound bad.
The greatest thing about the Back to the Future books is that it really feels like you're watching Back to the Future. Like the IDW, which is I think the official canon sequel to the Back to the Future, because we're never gonna get a movie. We don't need any more movies, but it is great to have like the comic books that are canon. For a while, that Telltale game was canon until the book came out. all done by Bob Gale. This wasn't done by Bob Gale, but it felt that feel of the original comic book. I wouldn't say the original one because the original comic book was based off the cartoon, but the IDW comic book that came out a few years ago. It was like 2 thumbs up. I can't praise this book enough. It's a hot book because it was hard to get. I guess I had to get mine off of eBay. So,
wow.
But if you're a big fan of Transformers, if you're a big fan of Back to the Future, it's out just in time for the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future. Also, they're releasing a Transformer X Back to the Future, which is a Transformer. The DeLorean turns into a Transformer, which I was finally able to get. But thanks to all these scalpers out there who got the bots, who don't have jobs right now, they get like 10 or 20 of them, and that's guys who collect it for fun, who play it from outside and whatnot. But anyways, I wasn't able to get one until now. I was hoping that I could debut the Transformer for you fine folks. That'll be on a Toy Time episode that I'll do later. But yeah, I'm getting overexcited. I'm talking really fast because I get like that when I really am excited about a book.
Question: does Biff call any of the Decepticons or Autobots Butthead?
No, he doesn't. He calls Marty a butthead.
Okay.
But let me see if I can find it real quick. Soundwave basically talks like Biff. He's like, "Oh, butthead." Soundwave does that. So I thought it was pretty funny.
It'd be funny if he went to one of the Transformers and said, "Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?" And then one of the Transformers just turned into a tree. And he's like, "Oh, that didn't go the way I thought it would."
Hey, there's still 3 more issues to go, so we don't know. But
one other question:
the second issue will probably explain what happened when Mario was sleeping and why he woke up to an alternate 1985.
I hope at some point during the series, Megatron gets knocked on his ass, and then a cart of manure falls on him, and he just goes, "Oh, I hate manure."
He doesn't have it, but Soundwave gets knocked into a manure.
Awesome! Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
We're hitting all the sweet spots, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, that's it was a mini series or it's an ongoing.
It's a mini series. So Bob Gale didn't write this one, but you could have fooled me if he didn't, or if he did or didn't, because it felt like it was just like the original IDW series that came out a few years ago, which I have high praise for. It was just real great. So like I said, if you're a fan of both, I highly recommend picking this up.
Well, I'm glad to see Bob Gale rebounded in comics, because I mean he had a good when he came to comics. He did some of the stories in No Man's Land with Batman, and then he wrote probably some of the worst stories in Spider-Man Brand New Day with Freak.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember he was I was so excited about that. I'm like, Bob Gale's on my second favorite thing in the world. So
I'm glad that I'm glad he's making a comeback and doing what he knows. And
well, he didn't do this issue.
Okay.
But it felt like he did, because it was almost like it felt like it was just like, his IDW series, the Back to the Future series he did a few years ago.
Awesome.
So that's where like the comparison comes from. It's like I thought Bob Gale about this.
All right. Okay. So Back to the Future Transformers #1. I mean, someone's gonna have to read Transformers My Little Pony and kind of do a compare and contrast and see which one's better.
Yeah, I can tell you that this one's better than that one, but
okay. Well, I mean, the jury's still out, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get right now into the meat of the 2 most anticipated comics of this week, I guess. Before we do, I know you guys are both. I know Patrick's gonna cover one, and Mike's gonna cover the other one right now, and I'm gonna kind of just chime in. But I'm gonna ask you guys some questions right now. And in order to find out who's gonna go first, I'm gonna ask you if you guys can guess which comic book character I'm talking about right now, so you guys can see who goes first. All right. All right, in this big flagship type in this issue that we're covering right now, the big flagship character goes against it's a milestone issue. All right, they go against their long arch rival in this issue. The color scheme of the arch rival is predominantly green and purple.
Oh God. I don't know who you're talking about.
This is the ending of a long little storyline that's been going on currently. Ugh. Written by a writer who's had for the majority of his time had to kind of do pickup for a writer that came before him that spent most of his time on Twitter.
Could it be Batman?
I don't know. Do you think it's Batman?
I think it's both.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I can't read my notes. Okay, both of them in the mid-90s had characters. Well, the one I'm talking about now had a character in the mid-90s take over for him that had blonde hair.
Azrael.
The one I'm talking about right now has a movie coming out next year.
Oh no, it won't come out next year. It'll never come out.
The one I'm also talking about, the comic that I want to go first, the actor playing the hero in the movie was in the movie The Devil All the Time, starring Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland. So if you guys can figure out what character I'm talking about, that's the comic I'm talking about right now.
Well, I'm long-winded from the stuff I just talked about, so I'm gonna say Batman. Patrick, bring it up.
It actually was Spider-Man because Batman got pushed back to March 2022.
Yeah, it did. I just said it.
I didn't think Michael was gonna catch up on it, but it's eerie. The similarities right now.
Yeah.
Books right now.
Man,
who wants to go? I'm not gonna. I don't care who goes first. Who wants to go first?
All right. Batman 100.
I mean, numero
it's
uno.
A wraparound cover too.
Beautiful cover by Artista.
Oh, mine was too, but it's not.
Artista Namoro Jorge Jimenez.
Or Jimenez George. Just call him George.
George.
Written by James Tinian, Tyron. Art by Gilliam March. Inks by Danny Mikey.
I don't get the colors in this. Once again, beautiful.
Yeah. DC overall has just been knocking it out of the park with the coloring. It's been consistent on most of their books.
Awesome. Yeah. I mentioned before in the last episode before that where I talked about I think it was Action Comics, I think, where the coloring was just jarring on John Romita Jr.'s art. I didn't enjoy that at all, but that was just a case for not meshing well. But anyway, we're talking about Batman anyway.
All right. Well, at last we left our intrepid heroes. Batman and the Joker were going to the Ace Chemical plant to have it out one last time, like we never seen that before. Yeah. But in the meantime, the Bat family gets together. They go up against the Joker's, disposable people. And well, here's the funny thing: Dick Grayson, Nightwing, he actually leads them, and Barbara Gordon.
I would say Oracle. Barbara Gordon has more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yep.
Yeah, Barbara Gordon.
It's almost like we read the same book.
Yeah, Barbara Gordon.
Oh.
She steps down being Batgirl and she becomes Oracle to go coordinate everything. Because eyes in the air, she controls Gotham PD and all that. Basically, it's a very satisfying issue. It's just funny seeing the Joker's henchman in Punchline just fold like a cheap chair. Yeah, they do. And the best thing is, that seeing when you go back to Ace Chemical Plant, you see the Joker wearing that brand that was supposed to be the brand new Batman outfit,
Camelot armor.
Blue. Yeah, the powdered blue that looks so bad. I believe that this story was rewritten and redrawn somewhat because there's inconsistencies with the epilogues. So
well, here's the thing. With the epilogues, I mean, we can kind of get into the meat of the story a little bit in a second. But I mean, as far as the epilogues go, I think Tinian wasn't supposed to be on the book till after issue 100. He was only supposed to be a fill-in between him and between Tom King and John Ridley. So I think once the book popped the way it did, I think they decided, let's keep this guy on the book. I think that's when you kind of added in those epilogues afterwards, because there's a lot. There's about 20 pages of epilogue.
But I just feel that this story was rewritten because that blue powdered suit was supposed to be the new Batman suit.
I don't know about that. I kind of disagree. I think that was kind of the point for him to kind of it was supposed to represent Batman's goal of what he could, because you started the whole the runoff with Tinian. It started off very gadget heavy, and very like,
Yeah.
Batman becoming like almost like big time Spider-Man, big time Spider-Man, but with Batman pretty much. And he's kind of like his goal, like where he's gonna reinvent Gotham, and he's gonna like have it stop being this big gothic, like crime-ridden, corrupted nightmare, and turn into like the Camelot version of Gotham pretty much. And I think the whole point of introducing that costume was just to have Joker get that costume and to defile it, and to like, and to like, really pervert it, so like, rub it in Batman's face, like, it's like, like, I'm gonna take your dreams and I'm just gonna like piss all over them, and that was the point of it, pretty much, I think.
Well, the thing is, it's funny you say that, because in some of the dialogue, the Joker says exactly that. Gotham, this is Gotham answering you back. You want Gotham to be a metropolis with a few less aliens.
That's one thing I wanted to kind of mention on was Joker monologues like a motherfucker in this.
Oh yeah.
Which is funny because through most of the Joker War, you didn't really see Joker talk that much, really, in the main Batman storyline, anyway.
Really?
Well, in the main Batman book, like you see him like in a few scenes here and there. You see him in the satellite books like Batgirl and Nightwing and all these other ones. But as far as like the Tinian version, he only made a few appearances, pretty much. And this one, like, the whole book is just him, like, like a Bond villain, pretty much. It was almost to the point where it's like, I don't know if you guys remember the Truman Show, where where him and Jim Carrey are fighting Laura Linney and Jorah Kinney, and she starts talking about like Ovaltine to the camera, and he's like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, I almost felt like Batman should have turned to the camera and be like, are you talking to me or are you talking to the reader right now?
Oh yeah.
Personally,
I think this story was rewritten on the fly when Tom King got the boot. Because remember a couple of weeks ago we talked about this when Bruce gets the Bat family together, he apologizes for all the crap that went on in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is more the Joker apologizing in some perverse way for the shitty, crap.
It doesn't really reinvent the wheel with this by the end of the storyline. I mean, so
No.
I've read some interviews with people like, well, nothing happened really, but it's like, the thing is, it doesn't. You're not going to kill the Joker. You're not going to kill Batman, obviously. But the thing is, what it's doing is setting up something that hasn't been done in Batman in a very, very long time. You have a writer who's actually setting up, like he's like the architect of the Bat books, and he's setting up a status quo for Batman going forward. And they show that during the epilogues too. And that's kind of refreshing, where it's a nice like. I've enjoyed a comic this much, a Batman comic, probably since, I don't know, maybe Nightfall or No Man's Land.
Maybe, yeah. It's been a long time. But I'll say what I liked about this is that the final battle where Harley Quinn shows up and straps the bombs around Joker. You know what? This is where I think the audience has changed. We talked about this before. People are tired of Joker killing hundreds of people. Yeah, he just gets sent back to Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
You know what? This is where Bruce Wayne made a choice. It's like, you know what?
I really like the depiction of Harley in this comic book. And I'll tell you something right now too. I noticed this a couple of years ago when Sean Gordon Murphy was doing White Knight. And now I think Tinian's kind of doing the same thing. Are you getting the feeling kind of there's a little Harley Batman shipping going on?
No. Only if Selena Kyle wasn't hanging around, I would say so. But Catwoman's there.
I feel like they're testing the water. Maybe doing a little Betty, maybe a little Veronica action with Batman. And honestly, I mean, I don't know. I think to me, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, really. I know a lot of people don't like.
I don't hate it. It's just I think that's a dead end story. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, obviously, I mean, even if it, I mean, I think they might be testing the waters, but if it is true, and they are kind of making an attempt to that, I think it makes perfect sense, because honestly, I mean, as far as like something that would really get in the Joker's, like, like craw, like, all Joker wants is the attention of Batman, pretty much, and like, and he never gets it. He's always like, to Batman, there's nothing special about you. You're a fucking criminal. You're a psycho, and I'm putting you down. But for like someone who Joker considers to be a secondary character, like Harley Quinn, who's not worthy of Batman, and Batman put his attention on her and accepting her into his world, I think that would drive the Joker fucking nuts. And
But the thing is, if you look at what they've been doing with Harley in the last 10 years or so,
yeah,
she has straddled the line to a superhero. Yeah, like Suicide Squad, her own book. She's not exactly a villain.
yeah.
So that's not.
I don't know. We'll
Not
see. I mean,
revolution.
I definitely, I don't definitely, but I kind of get a little bit of feeling right there, and I guess we'll see. We definitely get Tinian for another year, at least for 2021, at least I think.
Yeah.
They obviously the epilogue, like I mean, I think it's really well done. The ending is like Batman has to bury Alfred again, and he kind of and they kind of like do a little more exposition where it's like I have to start from scratch again, pretty much. I have no money. If you read,
No, no. Can I be honest? He has money.
Oh, he'll get it back, of course.
Oh, he does. I mean, they already previewed that with the Underbroker.
Yeah.
Yo, remember with that little scene with him and Punchline? Yo, the money that was feeding him just stopped.
Well, if you read, did you read the Batman Joker War? I think the name. We reviewed it last week, Mike. But Lucius Fox has all the money now, and he's decided they're not going to.
He does. That's in the Warzone book.
Yeah, that's what
came out last week.
And he kind of decided that he's not giving the money back to Bruce Wayne. So,
that's going to change.
Yeah, but
it will.
I think it's definitely a storyline that we're going to explore, though. A lot of people will be like, of course, like, it's like anything else. So like Superior Spider-Man, of course they're bringing back Peter Parker. Of course, Bruce Wayne's going to get his money back right now. But I think it's a ride we're going to be taking, though. I think for a little while.
Yeah, it's good. No, it'll be fun. It's just Bruce Wayne being the poor man's version of Batman. Dude, well, his gadgets, Batman is not fun. Yeah, he's like the Prowler from Marvel Comics.
Well, they're kind of doing it with Iron Man right now, where they're kind of doing a back to basics, like no money Iron Man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'll so far, Tinian hasn't steered me wrong.
No.
Keep Jorge Jimenez on that book, though. I'll tell you right now. I know he needs a break for sure, but keep him on that book.
Hey, you know what? Tinian has. I never thought I'd be buying Batman books regularly again. I'm serious, and this storyline to me, it lived up to everything. If you're a Batman fan, even a casual Batman fan, you will love this story, and this conclusion's really good. In fact,
I'm a flip-flop. I've been going back and forth on. I mean, I'm never gonna buy it, but I never thought I'd be reading a Batman book again. If you just want a Batman book to make you feel like when you first started reading Batman comics as a kid. If you want that feeling again, it's a cool comic. Like this is right up your alley right there. What do you think about that new character I showed at the end in the epilogue?
Oh, Clown Killer?
Not Clown Killer. He seems pretty cool, but there's another one too. I think his name's Ghost Maker or something like that, or Ghost something.
Yeah. You know what? Could be good. We'll see. Right now he looks like a suit that was well designed, but we don't know what's inside the suit.
That's the thing with this run too, is like, like 15 issues in, 10 issues in, and James Tinian and Jorge Jimenez, like, how about a whole new rogues gallery, a whole new cast of characters for you, and like you can make action figures and movies. The thing that's great about his run is not only does he want to tell a good story, but he also realizes, hey, what's also cool is selling Batman toys and maybe making a movie out of this and making this t-shirt, like people cosplaying as these characters,
Yeah, no kidding.
He knows the full package. He's very smart when it comes to like crafting this universe he's doing right now.
Yeah, but he does it well. I mean, you got guys like Bendis who creates these crap ass characters for Superman that no one wants to use, no one likes.
But Tinian's the guy also who wrote the Batman Ninja Turtle series. So he's like, I know what you guys want.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? So. Give something that the fans will actually buy and read and enjoy.
Feel like James Tinian, go to Marvel and do Daredevil and Turtles.
No. Let Marvel.
You know what?
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
He wants. He knows what the fans want, so
No, I jumped the gun.
Batman Turtles was great, but it'd be even better, 100 times better. Daredevil and Turtles.
Yeah, hell yeah! I would definitely love. I'd like to see.
You'll never see that.
I like
I
to.
know.
I like to. Well, Kevin Eastman says that he actually wrote a story, a Batman Turtles crossover. Oh, no, not Batman. A Daredevil crossover.
Daredevil.
And he said that's
Yeah.
sitting in somebody's desk somewhere at Marvel collecting
Yeah.
dust. You know?
Yeah,
I would love to see
they
that.
will not. Yeah, Mark. Well, we're getting off a tangent.
Yeah, yeah.
But hey, do you mind if I talk about the epilogue story
Oh,
for
absolutely.
a
Yeah,
second?
go ahead.
Yeah, the first one with Clown Killer. I don't know what this character is going to be eventually. He might end up being a big nothing. But
Yeah.
you know what? Here's a good answer for the fan that would see, like, the Joker, all these victims of the Joker. You think someone would just say, we're tired of this. Why is he just goes back into a nut house just to escape again?
Yep.
Yeah. He is, you can really see his point of view.
He reminds me of that character a little bit. Anarchy that was in the '90s, a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, we'll see how he goes. I mean, like I don't know. Like I said, I mean, he's cool. Looks like a cool visual character, and
Yeah.
I trust Tinian with where he wants to take him.
Yeah. And the second story, and this is why I think the main story was rewritten in the epilogue. Now, the best part was, Punchline when she does this video thing.
Yeah.
Her confession. That is so today.
Oh yeah.
You get this bitch who does this
She's
stuff.
not real. It's okay, Mike.
I need to go to church now after hearing that.
But you get this bitch who does all this stuff, and she claims, "Oh, but I'm a victim." Yeah.
Well, she does it, and you when you hear the Joker like talk about like his reaction to the video, he's like, "I see what she's doing right there." She's like,
but the thing is, how many times do we see something like this on real social media?
Oh yeah, it is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you get these real creeps who do these bad things, not on that scale, but they do these bad things. They go on media saying, "Oh, I had a bad childhood."
They're a victim. Yep.
Yeah, they're a victim. So,
as far as the Joker thing, and obviously we reveal the Joker's still alive. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, see, here's why I think that this Joker story, the main one, was rewritten. Because at the end of that story, the Joker's a one-eyed Jack. In this, the body.
Yep.
He still has, the fake body still has his two eyes. You don't have to be a medical examiner to figure out, hey, this doesn't match.
Yeah. Well, I think Batman obviously would know that. No matter what, Batman's never going to think he's dead anyway. I think this is mostly just for like the cops and like the media and that kind of thing to think he's dead. I also think after hearing what Joker said, I think he was listening to Mike and shares Mike's opinion where he's like, I think I'm gonna take a break for a while and go on vacation, kind of like recharge my batteries.
Well, you know what? And that's the way it should be.
Yep.
Why should the Joker show up every 6 issues doing something like this?
How do you feel about How do you feel about Joker knowing who Batman is?
That is the one gaping plot hole.
Didn't he say who he was back in Death in the Family? He figured out who Bruce Wayne was?
No, it's not. It wasn't too recently.
Oh.
Supposedly, recently, Rebirth, whatever.
No.
But the thing is, that's something they're going to have to tie up. I don't know how they do it, because honestly, if he knows everything about Bruce Wayne, he knows who everyone is. Joker doesn't have to set foot in Gotham ever again to take him out.
The thing about Joker is like, and Grant Morrison kind of explained it. While you have like these storylines right now where Jeff Johns is trying to pull like the whole 3 Jokers thing and stuff like that, like the different iterations of Joker. Grant Morrison explained it basically. It's like, if you know anything about like somebody who has like the mental deficiencies that Joker has, the way his brain is constantly like just like rearranging itself. And he's constantly, so his personality is constantly changing because that's the way a disordered mind works.
It's chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos
He's
is
literal chaos. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's a chance that he wouldn't remember who Batman was. But the thing is, in his mind, the reason why he's so obsessed with Batman is because he can't remember his past. He can't remember like what he came before. He can't remember certain things. But the one constant is this fucking Batman guy.
Yeah.
Is like,
But the thing is, but the only problem is because he kept all that information for so long in his storyline,
yeah,
that doesn't hold water.
yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like Joker only cares about Batman and destroying Batman, and not so much destroying Bruce Wayne.
Not in this storyline.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a little bit of
I mean,
column A, column B, because of course, yeah, he does only care about Batman. He's obsessed with Batman, but it almost seemed like because he even said like I could have told everybody you were Bruce Wayne, but why would I do that when like they can just turn on you and see what a corrupt person he is like everybody else? You know what I mean?
Well,
And it almost seemed like it didn't matter as much as you thought it would. It didn't affect the Joker as much as you thought it would. Like the fact that he had a name so behind the mask.
but the thing is, the Joker would never have to go near Bruce Wayne again or Batman.
Yeah.
With that information. Yeah. I mean, it's not that he knows who Batman is. He knows who Robin is, Dick Grayson, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one gaping hole in this storyline.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a ride. Buckle in and and enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it's an excellent book. I just tell people pick this storyline up. Other than the Batgirl issues and the stupid side stories, this has been excellent.
I agree. Moving on, we're going to talk about so we have enough time. We're going to talk about Amazing Spider-Man number 850. Another milestone, a $10 issue because a big milestone because it hasn't been canceled and relaunched within 2 years. So it's another thing to celebrate.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike's favorite artist, Mark Bagley's.
Three. I'm telling you right now, art.
Yeah.
They're not shy in the art department. There's 3 great artists in this.
Yeah,
Ryan Otley, Humberto Ramos, and Mark Bagley. The cover is beautiful. I'll tell you right now.
Oh yeah,
a bunch of covers as always.
Yep.
When it comes to these anniversary issues. So I'm gonna somewhat keep this short and sweet, and then see if you can add in as I go. So the biggest takeaways from this book is that the Web Warriors are kind of astral playing themselves, so to speak, over the battle. Madam Web's doing her astral plane type thing. And they're watching the battle take place. And the one person who kind of believes in Peter is Spider-Gwen. She's like, there's a reason why he's the best of us. I trust his decision. I know we all saw our visions of Peter getting killed by the Goblin. And again, it almost come true in this issue. So the issue starts off with the Sin Eater shooting Juggernaut. We saw that happen in the previous issue, but this one it begins with Juggernaut on the ground with a big gaping hole in his chest or whatever. And Sin Eater absorbs his sins and his powers, it seems, and he becomes like this big Juggernaut hulking type character,
angled looking thing.
Yeah, and basically it goes back to Green Goblin. Norman Osborn's Green Goblin again. He somehow knows remembers again that Peter is Spider-Man, which that was the thing that was slowly lacking in the new Goblin stories, was when Norman Osborn, because of Brand New Day, didn't remember who Peter was.
Well, no, he found out because Jonah told him in the Red Goblin storyline.
Yeah, but then he forgot again at the end of that because he was all, I'm Carnage, I'm Cletus Cassidy. And then just like how the big gaping hole, how Joker found out who Batman was, how did he know?
Yeah.
How did we know? When did the Norman Osborn become, sane again, compared to when he was thinking he was Cletus Cassidy? So like, how did there's that plot hole there. How did he know who Peter is again? Which I don't care, because I love the fact that Norman Osborn knows who Spider-Man is and Peter Parker is. And that was one of the best things about Goblin versus Spider-Man. It was also Norman Osborn versus Peter.
It was personal.
Okay.
And that was what my favorite part of the post-Clone Saga was I know I keep referencing that with this run
Miles?
that it seems like Spencer is kind of digging back into that again, where I felt a little bit of a Paul Jenkins type feel, where no one's like you're the one who wanted to replace me. Then they kind of have a heart to heart where so the whole time they're fighting, Sin Eater, they're trying to get away to escape down to the secret basement that Norman Osborn has. And
which, by the way, oh no, which basically which level are you talking about? You talking about the one with the water, the ship?
Yeah, that's like the sub basement.
I don't know if you noticed this, Mike, but that was a frame for frame copy of the amazing, not the amazing, the 90s cartoon where all the people were all tied up and they have that ship right there in the water. That was frame for frame remake of that one episode where he first becomes the Green Goblin and he has the statue with the judge, the thing over there, and he's like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, holy shit!
I didn't get call back to
the
90s cartoon. While they're escaping, fighting the Sin Eater, like there's this big. At one point, Spider-Man saves the Goblin, and then as they're escaping, like there's this big, Spider-Man pulls down like this wall in the Sin Eater, and that's when he saves the Goblin to get him out of the way. But then that rock wall falls on Spider-Man, and then they're having like a heart-to-heart where Norman Osborn's like, you really hurt me because when I first started out, I wanted you to join me. And Peter's like, I was a kid, I was afraid, blah, blah, blah. So they're having this heart-to-heart, and that's kind of what I think Spencer's trying to set up. Like, this is when I wanted you to become like me. I wanted you to join me, and you shunned me. And I think that's what he's trying to set up the whole. This is what started the Norman Osborn Peter Parker feud, is because he was shunned by Peter way back when, and Peter's like, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
You're a criminal. I'm the hero.
But also that is also when he first got it almost implies that he faked the amnesia pretty much because it's saying when he actually saved him for the first time and took his clothes off and made it seem like he hid the fact that the Norman Osborn was a Green Goblin. He was in Peter's debt at that point, and that made him hate him. The fact that he actually owed him, like, his life to him, to Spider-Man. I thought that kind of a cool retcon. I like that a little bit, but I was a little worried.
And in that same scene, this is where Norman Osborn pays that debt back by lifting the big rock. It seems like he's just gonna fucking take it and smash him with it, but that doesn't happen. And then when they get down to the sub basement, there's like this like EMP bomb that for some reason Goblin has done this. So Goblin has like this side mission that he has going on that we don't really know about, unless I miss it.
Okay.
But so basically, Norman Osborn's like, how do you stop this guy? You stopped the Juggernaut before. How do you stop him now? It was like, well, that's because I had wet cement to stop him, the Juggernaut. Way back in that, I forget, 2 something. I forget what number it was.
250 or 230, 250. I was one of those. 229.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, there's one part where they kind of recreate that same scene where Spider-Man originally fights him. Ramos kind of like, I believe it was Ramos who did kind of recreate that whole scene, which I thought was pretty neat as well. Hopefully our time's going down there. So basically they set up that EMP bomb where it's kind of liquefies the ground, and that's how they get the Sin Eater Juggernaut kind of get sink into the liquefied cement. And as this is happening, Peter's going down with, well, Spider-Man's going down with him, and he's like, Sin Eater goes all the way down to the bottom, and like Peter's like, help me, and he's like, I already paid my debt. I don't need to save him. Yeah. And that's when Gwen comes in and saves him and whatnot. And so this is when the Web Warriors, enter the book, so to speak, again.
To bail the character out, bail Spider-Man out.
And it's basically setting up like there's something bigger coming than us, and that's Kindred. That's how pretty much.
That's something we'll talk about in a minute. I think they also set up a subplot pretty much where Norman's talking to them, and he goes, "It's gonna make it," because he basically Peter yells Gwen when she does it. So Norman Osborn, when they're in the subs like that, he kind of like looks at like Gwen. He's like, he goes, "Hey," and he goes, "Did I hear someone call you Gwen?" And like, you know, and so he puts two pieces together. He goes, what are you? Are you one of Jackal's clones? Are you from another universe?
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't matter because, like, you know, he goes, like, I don't know if you're aware of this. Me and Gwen Stacy have a history. So he references Sin's past, which I thought no one would ever do, but like, he did, and this goes full on creep mode. Like, you know, to Gwen Stacy, he's really like, you know, negging, poking the knife at Peter Parker. Like, you know, he's like, you know, he says like he uses like wordplay saying like, oh, I can do that in a snap, and like looks at Peter Parker when he says it to her, and the whole time, like, you know, he's like, don't fucking look at her, don't even talk to her, and stuff like that, and like he goes, you know, we have like, you know, obviously Peter remembers the bad times, but I prefer to remember the good times. And stuff like that and everything else. He's full on like creep mode. I don't know how old Gwen is in this. If she's, I think she might be actually like 18 in this now, but I think she's in college.
She's
now.
still a teenager. She's still young enough though.
Yeah. But it's really creepy. It makes a perfect scumbag Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
This kind of pushes Peter to the point where he's gonna like maybe like, you know, like punch him, like kill him, something like that. But he kind of holds back and stuff. And then Norman makes mention. He goes like, you know, it's good to know you have all these people that care about you, Peter, because it's going to make it that much worse when I kill them all. And it kind of makes you see, and for me, I know they're not going to do it because, like Patrick said, like, you know, Marvel wants to sell that merchandise. They want the cross-pollination with all these different Spider characters to sell toys and whatnot. But I had this little glimmer of hope that they're going to, like, kind of like get rid of all the secondary Spider-Man characters, which I know they won't, but I hope so. I don't know. But that interaction,
they're actually setting up another Spider-Verse storyline.
No, please don't.
Yeah. Hey, you know,
that's something that's never going to end. The Spider-Verse.
Yeah. You know what? I got annoyed when they brought the clone Gwen Stacy back. I thought that was so stupid.
Yeah, I mean they do that. Every clone related storyline they bring the clone.
The clone saga will never go away. They're always going to bring it back.
They literally just do it for copyright reasons.
Yeah,
that's it now.
But that was kind of the shining moment, I think, the interaction between as much you go on Twitter and everybody's like, you know, that was really creepy and weird. As much as it was like uncomfortable, it was a cool like interaction, and Spencer kind of really handled it well. But you know, and also what was promised during 850, surprise, we have like more foreshadowing to Kindred. Yeah. Norman Osborn works for Kindred. These people work for Kindred. Kindred's coming. I don't even fucking care who Kindred is anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
they're gonna keep drawing out for another 10 issues probably before we even find out who it is.
Yeah.
Lately this book's been good, but the Kindred storyline has been killing it, which I think. But there's in this Peter Parker hasn't really been in this book at all. It's been mainly just Spider-Man.
It reeks of editorial interference. This book, I
really
ever since like Mary went to Los Angeles to be a movie star for a while.
Yeah,
like, we haven't heard anything about Aunt May and having cancer anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, Aunt May's still alive? Oh my God!
I mean, that happened in I think Friendly Neighborhood, where we found out that she had cancer.
Shocking.
I don't know if that book kind of ended abruptly because of COVID, pretty much, and now
I guess Tom Taylor went to DC, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
So there's been no really Peter Parker life, really, and that's the one thing I've kind of missed about the book is that it's been mainly Spider-Man. Well,
that's the thing. That's the time when you can tell it's just Spencer, when it's just Peter Parker stories, where it's like the GOG storyline or him and Boomerang doing something or this and that, you can tell that's just Spencer writing his book. But then you get the shit like the maximum, absolute carnage and the Sin Eater storyline, the Craven storyline, and it's like, and don't forget to put in Miles Morales and everything else. And that's when you see like where it's like editorials kind of like, don't forget to throw these things in and check these boxes off. And I think it's classic. They did the same thing to Spencer during Secret I forget what it's called, but
Secret Empire.
Bullshit.
Yeah. I love that Secret Empire storyline.
But it's kind of the same thing.
You guys know that I'm a big fan of clones. It's no secret, and I absolutely love that storyline. I think people got the hate because it was kind of like Captain America's time to have a clone or an evil superior. I call it the superior Captain America storyline, basically, because you have more Spider-Man, then Iron Man, and now Cap.
But, I mean, as far as the issue goes as a whole, it was a decent issue. It wasn't what all it was hyped up to be. I think Peter working with the Green Goblin is asinine. But I mean, whatever. It is what it is. The great art on it, definitely not worth $10.
No.
For sure. No way I would spend $10 on that issue. But I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I mean,
I'm just glad it was 850 and not 900 that they did it this with.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
my only positives from this is that I hope we're getting back the Norman Osborn versus Peter Parker that I love so much.
Yeah.
we'll see.
And I know a lot of people, well, Mike, you talk so much crap about the Joker. Well, the Joker's been the same in DC for the most part, and it's been almost the same storyline, Batman versus Joker. But for the longest time for me, ever since Brand New Day, the Goblin, Spider-Man storyline hasn't been the same. And now I feel like it's coming back to the way I want it. And I'm sure in 10 issues from now or 100 issues from now, I'm like, oh, I'm sick of this Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's back to the Green Goblin, Peter Parker that I love. So.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Patrick? We have moments left.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say you brought up $10 for Amazing Spider-Man 850, Batman 100, $7.
Yeah, that's the one difference those books had.
Well, and that's the thing too. IDW came out with the best of Raphael, and I believe the book was like $5.99.
Yeah.
So
that's Marvel just screwing it. Yeah.
That's another episode for another time, because honestly, I think it's the episode we should do is to talk about the hiccups that Marvel has made during post-COVID. But we're going to wrap up for this episode. Again, every Thursday we come up with these episodes. We review the funny books, and thank you guys for watching. There's plenty more videos you guys can watch on the channel, and remember to like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up. But honestly, give us a thumb.
Patrick already started saying, "Give us a thumbs down, or else."
Give me all. I want all the thumbs. Give me all the thumbs.
Give us a comment. Tell us how much we suck.
Yes, interact. Come on. And these times of everybody being alone by themselves, we need to interact, guys. Come on, let's do it.
Don't let Patrick be the only one who interacts with us. All right, on the comments, join him.
Join the party, guys. And with that, party's over, guys. We'll see you next time.
You guys later.
Bye bye.